program, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. So basically what we have here is the reminders pop-up screen that you're seeing right now. And do you see that screen? Just let me know.
Yes. Yes, we see it.
Okay. Okay, great. So here we've got the different tabs showing us how many of each type of reminder are underneath each tab. So if we click here on the lube service reminders, you can see here there's 22. For this particular database, there's 22 reminders that they have for lube services. Lube services are your PM type reminders. They're going to be based upon either miles or hours, like an hours meter, or on days, if a certain number of days have gone by. And then these, you can see here that they have a 3,000 mile, the one that's selected right now, 3,000 dry miles, and it's next due. It's got 33 miles left before that needs to be done again. You can see a couple other ones down here. They've got a minus 561, so they're past due on that one. And then the other ones have got a few hundred miles left to go. And so that's lube services, and then you've got inspections. These are your DOT type inspections, and they've got this, their DOT inspections to be set for 365 days. And that's just showing you when it was last done and when the next one is due. All of these are due right now for them, the 31 reminders showing. You can see here under pending work orders, these are all the work orders that are pending, have not been completed yet. They still need to be done. So it gives you a list of those. Also underneath all these tabs, you can click a print button. If it's the print, small print button here with the arrow pointing down, indicating that you're going to print what's below here. And if we click on that, it just prints out a sheet showing you those particular reminders so that you could highlight them and pass them off to somebody if you needed to. Parts inventory reminders, that's showing you when you have a minimum quantity on hand of a certain part that it needs to be reordered. And then you've got driver's reminders. I'm not sure if you're going to be using that or not, but driver's reminders are for letting you know when a commercial driver's license or any kind of driver's license or a physical is next due. And then taxes and registrations, letting you know when vehicle registrations are due, and tax information if you require any of that kind of stuff. And needed maintenance repairs, that would be something you would use that instead of work orders. So you're either going to use the needed maintenance repairs or you're going to use pending work orders to keep track of what needs to be done. And I'll show you that in just a second. And to get information into these reminders, the way that happens is by just basically entering in the last time something was done, so the system knows when the next time it is due. So you've got to enter it in there once, you know, so the TATEMS knows when the last time it was done. And then when you create these reminders, a lot of them are based on either miles, hours, or days, and then it's going to start counting up either miles, hours, or days. And you'll have to enter in if you're basing it upon hours or upon mileage, you'll have to periodically put the hours meter reading or the mileage meter reading into TATEMS, so that it knows it's getting close and it can pop these reminders up for you. And then this edit how soon to be notified button up here is for how far in advance you want to be notified for items based upon either mileage or on hours or on days. So in this case, this particular customer has it set, they want to be notified 600 miles before something is due. They want it to start showing up on the reminders pop-up screen. And likewise, on the hours notification, they want to be notified 30 hours before it's actually due, and then 10 days before something is actually due. So if it was a 90-day inspection, they're going to start seeing this on the reminders pop-up screen at 80 days since it was last done, so it starts showing up 10 days before it's actually due. And so like I said, you can print these screens down below. This print up at the top right-hand side is if you want to just print all the tabs all at once. If you just want to print every reminder out in here, you click on that, and it'll just spit them all out for you. Any questions on the reminders pop-up screen?
So you're saying when you put in the days of when the next service is due, it just start counting down? But you would have to into each notification to find out how many days is left over?
Yeah, to find out how many days, if you're basing your stuff on days, and let's see if we've got one here. Over here is your days to go, and this particular customer doesn't base anything on days. It's either on mileage or hours. But if you just put the date it was done into the system, and I'll show you that right here. I'll just close this out, and we'll go to the Lube Service tab.
Okay, well,
and
I just saw on the screen, and it kind of explained. I thought you would have to click on an individual piece of equipment to find out how many days he had to go. So, no, I just saw...
No, the reminders...
Yeah, so...
Yeah, no, you don't. On the reminders pop-up screen, it shows you every piece of equipment that is currently due or past due.
Okay.
All right. So that's showing... Did I explain it?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you wanted to, so when you have this reminders pop-up screen open, you can also, if you double-click on an item in here, it will open it up behind the pop-up screen. You can move the pop-up screen out of the way, and you could actually go ahead and enter your lube service reminder if you wanted to. We'll close that. So on this particular screen, this is the lube service screen, and you can see here, you can create your own lube service types just by typing in what you want it to be. Like, for example, say I'm going to do a 90-day. And I'm just going to hit tab there, and it's going to let me know it's not in the list and ask me if I want to add it. And then I click OK. And then it's asking me to enter the mileage interval for this new lube service type called 90-day service. It's not based on mileage, so I'm just going to click OK to bypass that. And it's asking me to enter the hours interval, and it's not based on hours, so I'm just going to click OK to bypass that. And then it says enter the days interval, and here I'm just going to put 90 for the 90 days. And you can see here now, if I click on that, it's a 90-day service, and then underneath here, you can tell what the interval is for that particular service type. And it's a days interval of 90 days. And then if I just want to put in it was done today, I could just double-click this, and it'll put today's date in. And then we can put in there who did it. And then you can check off what was done. And any notes you can put down here as well. And so now if we just click off of that and click back to it, we can see over here on the equipment summary screen that 90-day service is on the equipment summary screen, showing you all the different lube services last done and next due on that screen as well. So back over to the main screen here, and I'll just kind of go over some of these items up here. So if we look on File, we have Setup, and Setup is for setting up things related to the 365-day inspections here and your inspection lists. Company information is where you're going to put your company info in there, or your port info in there, so that shows up at the top of your work orders and your reports and stuff. And then we go over here to edit. This is if you want to edit the equipment ID number. It's not typically editable, that one right there, so you don't accidentally change it. So if you need to change an equipment ID number, you would click Edit there. Records, here's where you add a new piece of equipment. You click that to add a new piece. If you need to delete a piece of equipment, you would click on that button there. For reports, you've got all equipment reports. These are just quick reports with not much in the way of criteria that you can click on to quickly bring up a report. We have a couple in here that have detail that you can choose criteria on. And that's basically the unit information report and the cost per mile per hour report. This cost per mile per hour report, if you click on that, you can pick and choose which equipment you want to include in the report and what parts of the program you want to include to get your cost totals. So if we were to just grab a few pieces of equipment here and we go to and choose a date range, we can go back a couple of months and preview this report for, let's see, a few pieces of equipment there. And it was looking for that customer's logo. It's not in this particular database. That's what that message was. So this here shows you your cost per mile per hour. It shows you the beginning odometer for this date range, the ending odometer reading that was captured in this date range, how many miles were traveled, their cost per mile, and their total cost.
Call from 918-667-8810.
And also, then you have your work order labor, your work order parts, and your total cost for work orders that were spent in that time range, or in that date range rather. And this is each piece of equipment. This is P70, this is P79, this is this JD644G. So that's 3 pieces of equipment that came up in that report. And then this is the grand total for the overall report, how much was spent and what your cost per mile was, and for the things that we chose. And we just chose work orders, I believe. So we close that out. Work orders and fuel, and there was no fuel for those particular ones captured. So cancel that. And then we have the current equipment reports. These reports are just quick reports to show you information related to the current piece of equipment that we're looking at. So if I click on this lube service report here, it's going to ask me what year I want for the report's criteria, and it's going to show you a year's worth of data. We click OK there, and that shows us the upcoming lube services, detailed information about the piece of equipment, the lube services that were done in the past, and basically that's what that report is. So it's the currently selected piece of equipment, or what the current equipment reports are. So whatever's currently selected down here is what is going to be printed out in these reports here. More reports. That is where you can select multiple different types of reports. One's based or relating to the equipment itself, like an equipment list, the fuel log, lube service reports, work orders, parts inventory, parts installed, inspections, and needed maintenance repairs and repairs completed. These two you probably won't be using. We'll get into that in a second here. So basically with these types of reports, you have a lot of work order reports where you can get details on like labor totals, parts totals, overall work order cost totals, and stuff like that. Here, once you select one of these, you have criteria that you enter in here, like when it was completed, date from and to, so you can get a date range. Or if you want to look at a specific piece of equipment, you can put that equipment number in here. Just put it in there in both places, and I'll show you that particular specific piece of equipment. So that's the more reports, just a quick overview of that. And then we go here to forms. We have the drop-down list maintenance. So like you see these drop-down lists here, and in here, the lube service types. All over the program, you're going to see drop-down lists. And drop-down list maintenance is so that you can, if you make a mistake somewhere, you can go in and edit it, or if you want to get rid of a particular thing, you can delete some of them. Some of them allow you to delete. This one does. So if we see this one, you could also update this. So, for example, this is called the 15,000 miles wet. Maybe they wanted to have a space here instead and make it just a little more readable. They could have done that. Or if they accidentally didn't put a mileage interval in, maybe they left that at 0, then you can go in here and put the 15,000 that it was supposed to be. So that's the drop-down list maintenance. Parts inventory, this is where you can add your parts, and these parts will also show up. You can see here this particular part selected. You can see at the bottom here it shows you every place this part was installed. The work order number it was installed on, the equipment it was installed, and the installation date. So this list will populate if you have a part that's been used on a lot of equipment, and you can see how much you spent on that particular part, the total cost for that installed part on all the work orders it was installed on. Also on the parts inventory, you have your current quantity on hand, and this is just the parts inventory is very basic and simple. There's no check-in feature for parts inventory, so when you get a new batch of parts in, say you've got you were going to add 5 to this, and then maybe you had 1 on hand already, you would just change the number to 6. So now you know you have 6 on hand. The minimum quantity on reorder, or minimum quantity on hand, no, minimum quantity before reorder. This is when you get down to a certain threshold and you're pulling parts out of inventory and putting them into work orders. Then once you hit that certain threshold, then the part will start showing up in the reminders pop-up screen. So if you wanted to have 2 on hand before you started ordering more, then once you hit 2, then it's going to start showing up in the reminders pop-up screen that that part needs to be reordered. We'll close that out and go back up here. Reminders pop-up is that reminder screen that I showed you when we first started. You can start that up by either clicking this under Forms. Also, periodically throughout the day, it'll ask you if you want to check for reminders, and if you say yes, then the program will go through the process. It might take 10 seconds for that reminders pop-up screen to come up, depending on how much data, how many pieces of equipment you have. And it'll also, when you first start the program, it'll ask you if you want to check for reminders. So if you want to check, if you don't want to check for reminders, you just want to quickly get into the program, you're going to choose no when the program first starts. And we have the personnel. You can enter in personnel here, and for example, technicians will show up for when you're adding labor to a work order. So if you have a guy in here that you can put in their assigned number, employee type number, and that doesn't have to be a numeric. That can be alpha. So you can just put in like the first 2 letters of their first name and the first 3 letters of their last name or something like that. And then your first name, last name, and then if you click Fleet Technician, they'll show up in the they'll show up as technicians able to provide labor in a work order in that drop-down list. If you put them as a driver, then they're going to show up to be a driver as assigned to a specific piece of equipment or vehicle, and you can do that as in a certain date range. When you have your CDL number, your renewal date, last physical, next physical, so forth. And then the only other one is the hazardous waste inspection log, and that's just very simple. You have the date, the employee, and the comments, and you're going to see some instructions here on what to enter in there, how this is used. And I think that's it for that tab. And then we have under Tools and Networking, this is where you can link up to a data file and share it between multiple computers if you're going to be setting up on like a local area network. You can see the path to the current data file here, and if you needed to change the path, you're going to click on this little open folder icon and then go navigate to the data file wherever it is, and then double click on it and it'll put the path in, and then you click Link Now. And then preferences. This is your various preferences for the program you're going to want to set up. And then you've got miscellaneous preferences. You have the billing terms, which you guys probably aren't going to deal with. That would just be something that goes at the bottom of a work order, the terms and conditions if somebody's going to sign it or something. And then you have work orders and invoices preferences, things like always deduct the part, work order parts from inventory. What it is currently, when defaulted from us, it doesn't automatically deduct. You're going to click a little button like this inside the work order to deduct it from inventory if you want it to. Otherwise, if you check that, then it's always going to that check mark will always be checked for you as soon as you add the part to the work order. There's a delete button in there for deleting work orders, and if you want to hide that delete button, you're going to check this box here. And these things are all pretty self-explanatory. You can just read through them, or if you have any other questions on them, we can always help you with it. And then what else do we got here? Simplify TATEMS. This here is applies to each installation or each front-end file or each installation. And what this does, it allows you to hide certain tabs if you're not going to be using them. So, for example, if you're not going to use needed maintenance or repairs completed, parts for this equipment, you click uncheck those, click close, and it hides those tabs so they're no longer seen for that particular installation or that user. And we'll just add those back in. And one more thing here, edit tab names. If you wanted to change the name of these tabs, you can do that here. And backup and compact, I would recommend using that in the networking environment. It's usually more for single users. And then, so that's kind of it for that. I mean, under help, you can watch the videos online for more in-depth training. Bring up the quick start document. That's a local a Word document on the hard drive. And if you're going to be getting updates, you can click there. That'll open up the page where the updates are. Back over to the equipment summary screen. This is just your basic information about the equipment. VIN number, make, model, year, engine, vehicle weights, who the customer is, and the customer can be a division within your organization. Location, where the equipment is located, department or area that the equipment is currently located at. And then when you want to add odometer and hours meter reading, you click on that button there, you'll click put in the odometer reading and the date it was done, and then you click update and close, and it'll add it in right here. Also, the odometer and hours meter readings will get updated from other tabs. So if you put an odometer reading over here in the loop service tab, it's going to automatically get entered in over here on the main part of the program as well for that equipment. 365-day inspection dates. This is just basically the last time this inspection was done, next time it's due, and if it's required. If it's something that needs to be on the reminder screen, you would check that box there. Driver's history. This is if you want to have a specific driver assigned to this equipment, so you'll know who was driving it when. You can do that. So you would just choose the driver here and put in the date that they began the equipment, and if they ended on the equipment on a certain date, you would put that on there, and then you would just save and close, and that'll add it down to this list here. So and you can see there how that gets added in. And then we're in the 365-day inspection. This is your DOT type inspections, and if we look here, you can see this list of inspection items that they have, and then this inspection, basically what you do here is you choose the month and the year that the inspection was done in, and then you put the date inspected. The date inspected, the actual date inspected needs to correspond with the month and the year so that they match up. And then put in who did the inspection, what the odometer reading was, what the hours meter reading was, if that applies. And then you are just going to check off the items as either okay or defective, and any notes regarding that inspected item would be going here. The maximum you can do on these is once a month. There's 12 of them per year that are pre-populated into the program, and that's it for those. And these people are actually just doing them once a year. When it comes from us, it comes as a 90-day inspection, so that basically be 4 times a year. The loop service, we went over that a little bit. One other thing about the loop service that we do have the ability to do under preferences here is right here. You can have it ask you if you want to enter lower interval loop services. So basically, if you have a loop service that's 10,000 miles and one that's 5,000 miles, a lot of times the 5,000 mile one will be considered completed when you do the 10,000 mile one. So if that's the case, you can have it automatically generate and show as completed the 5,000 mile one when you do the 10,000 mile one. That way you don't have to enter them both when you're doing when you're entering the lube services. Needed maintenance and repairs. This tab, and this tab would typically not be used if you're going to use work orders. Needed maintenance and repairs is just about 200 characters to say what a needed maintenance or repair is. When you want it completed by the actual completed date, you can click OK here to transfer it over to repairs completed. Repairs completed gives you up to 200 characters to type in what a repair was, the odometer reading, the hours meter reading, the date it was done, and the cost. Nothing else. You don't get any. You don't know who did the job. You don't know if there was any parts involved in that job. You don't get a lot of details. The parts for this equipment, you can use this to keep track of every part ever installed in the equipment, or you can use this tab to, and if you're using work orders, you're not going to typically want to do that because work orders will also keep track of all the parts installed in the equipment. But you can use this tab for just putting in the commonly used parts. Parts that get used a lot, like certain belts or something on that particular piece of equipment, so you don't have to go looking for the part number. You could just have it listed in here, so you would know what that particular part number and be able to go get it quickly, or ask for it, or order it quickly. And then we'll go over here to work orders. For work orders, you've got a list of all work orders showing here right now. This would show you only the non-completed work orders, and this shows you all the completed work orders. To add a new work order, you're going to click New Work Order down here. Hit that big button down there, and then up here, reference number. That would just be an in-house number, a reference number that you have that you want to reference in-house. Some people want to use, they may have a pre-printed work order number or something like that that they want to put on there, and they could use that if they wanted to. And then this other information like customer, equipment number, location, department or area, serial VIN, license plate, year, make, model, that's all pre-populated and you can't change it. It comes from all the information entered over the equipment summary screen. Requested date, that's the date that the work order has been requested to be done. And requested by, that's the person that did the requesting. Completed date, no, complete by date rather, that's when they want to be completed by. And then here you've got the service by, that can either be your own shop like this, or if it's an outside vendor, you could choose that if you wanted to. Short description here in work orders, you have unlimited short descriptions, and these short descriptions will show up in a drop-down. They will get added to the drop-down as you add them in here. So when you're adding short descriptions, it's best to try to, if you can, try to keep them as broad as you can. And then if you have more details, you can put up to 65,000 characters in the detailed description down below here. And then over here under labor completed, you would click this button here to add labor. And the labor in units is hours, how many hours of labor it was. So 1.5 hours, and whether it was performed by your employee or a vendor. If you choose a vendor, there's no drop down here to choose your employee. So we choose employee, you can choose in here who did the job, and then you can choose what the job was, and then we click here, add labor to work order. It shows up here, save and close, and it gets added to the work order itself. Parts or materials used pretty much works the same way. You click that button there. Choose your part, choose the quantity of the part, and here's where you would choose the deduct from work order. You can see here we have a quantity of 4 on hand. Our quantity on hand is 4 right now, or actually that's -4, so this is overdrawn by 4 right now according to the work order. According to the parts inventory. This one here has 6 on hand. You can scroll over and see how many on hand you have when you do the drop down. And now if I click on the deduct from inventory, okay, let me know the quantity on hand before and then the quantity on hand after. So there's 5 on hand as long as I leave that checked. If I uncheck that, it's going to go back to 6. So then we choose add part to work order, do a save and close, and that's been added to the work order. Attachments, if you've got a scanned document, a photograph, anything that's scanned, you can attach to it. And for these attached files, they should be on a shared drive so that the path to it is everybody has the same access to that path where that attachment is. Because if you have it on your local computer and another guy opens it up and tries to open that attached file, he's not going to be able to open it because it's on your local computer, not on his. So if you put these attached files on a server, on a shared drive somewhere where everybody can access them, then you'll be able to share them and see them. Everybody will be able to share them and see them. And then when you want to click print out a work order, you can see here if I click print, and let's see here, say no to that. Okay. So this shows us that it's a pending work order, and it shows us the labor and the parts so far and our costs so far. Once I put a completed date in here, then it becomes a it becomes possible to print it as an invoice, and I can say yes here, and oops, that's completed work order. Work order completed. Oh, okay, so that says an invoice. I don't know if you guys are going to be doing invoices anyway, so it's probably a moot point, but you would have it. You can have that choice. So let's do a save and close on that, and that's it for work orders. Tires and wheels, this is just to keep track of what was installed where and when. So basically you choose your tire manufacturer, your model, tire size, the odometer at the install, the installation date, and where it was installed on the equipment. Same thing with the wheels, if you want to track your wheels, and then you can print out a list of tires and wheels on that equipment here. Also back to reports, I'll show you real quick. If we go over here to current equipment reports, there's this unit information report, and this is something that the DOT inspectors like to see, is all this information, and that includes the tire sizes and so forth, your axle and equipped with information. Okay, so back over to fuel log. Are you guys going to be using the fuel log?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I won't go over that then. And then we've got inspections and permits. These are all hard-coded. You have DOT inspection, 90-day inspection, the annual state inspection, over axle, over gross, over tolerance permit, motor carrier certificate, and your periodic smoke inspections. And basically, you just put in the last time it was done, and the interval is for this, and the next time it's going to be due. It will show up automatically. That'll automatically calculate on the right-hand column. And then those items will start showing in the reminders pop-up screen as they become close to becoming due. Filters, this is just a list of filters for this particular piece of equipment. And see, we can go back up to the top here. Yeah, he doesn't have anything for that. Okay. Anyways, this would be your list of filters just for quick reference to see what filters that are required for this piece of equipment, and you can print out that list down here. If you've got it filled in, it's going to print out that list for you. Attachments, these are the attachments not only from the work orders. If you attach something to a work order, it'll show up here and we'll have a work order ID next to it. But if you just want to attach something that's related to this piece of equipment, you can attach any kind of document that you can scan or put on the computer. You can attach it here. When you open those external documents, basically it's going to open in the program that created it or that it opens with. And that TATEMS isn't going to really open it. It's just going to open it like a link, like you are double-clicking on that document inside the operating system. And then notes here, this is just free-form notes. You have about 250 characters you can put in here, and it's just an unlimited number of notes. Once I start typing in there, it's going to give you another line, type in there, so you can type in as many notes as you want to. And that's it. That's your overview. Any questions?
We'll be calling you before too long, but it seems to be something that we are looking for, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's going to become very helpful to us. But of course,
good.
trying to be able to cruise around it like you were.
Yeah. If you guys get the gold package, it includes 2 hours of training. You know, if you want, after you get it installed over there. Well, first of all, one thing we'll do is, I don't know if we've done it already for you, if anybody's asked for it, but if you have a list of your equipment in a spreadsheet, we have an import template, and if you can copy and paste your equipment list into our spreadsheet, send that to us. We'll populate a database for you with all your equipment. So it'll be things like the equipment number, your description, your year, make, model, maybe current odometer reading if you have that, if you want us to do that, and the type of equipment it is. So we'll populate that for you. The other thing is, in the training, once you get it installed on your end and you've got some data in there, and say you've gone through some of the training videos and you still have some questions or you're not sure, then or even before that, we can provide you with training or any kind of tech support via remote support session where we can connect that to you and look at your screen while you look at it too, and then point and click and show you whatever it is you need.
That is awesome. Any questions?
All right.
Yeah. No, that definitely was very helpful.
Good.
Just down with a group and go through it with them and see what it is that we just to come to an accord, whether it is something that is feasible, which I think it is. And
okay, sounds good. Well, anything else then, or do you want to end the call now?
No, I think we're good to go. We really appreciate you taking the time to go through with us.
Not a problem. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future, okay?
All right, thank you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Mark.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, you're welcome. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.